So good morning and welcome to the Galan Lithium Investor Webinar. My name is Jane Morgan and today I am joined by our Managing Director, JP Vegas de la Vega. Today we'll be running through an investor presentation which was lodged with the ASX yesterday, followed by a Q&A session. To ask a question throughout today's webinar, please use the Q&A function which can be found at the bottom of your screen. JP, I'll now hand over to you.
Thanks, Jane. Well, welcome everyone. I'm saying hello tonight because I'm in Argentina and I've been here for the last couple of weeks making good progress. We have made quite a few advances and I'll give you an update on where we're at in Argentina. But for the ones that do not know much about Galan, I have a brief presentation about who we are, where the company is, and what is our long-term strategy that is being fleshed out in this webinar. So Galan Lithium is located at the Lithium Triangle. We are based at the plateau in the Catamarca province in Argentina, and we are well placed in a very hot salt flat of Hombre Muerto, where our neighbors are POSCO, Livent, and Allkem. And the last two, they just recently announced that they're going to be merging. And the reason being is because Hombre Muerto, in our view, is the best salt flat in Argentina. So what is special about the Lithium Triangle? The Lithium Triangle is the other half of the lithium equation. The second half of the lithium production comes between Chile and Argentina. Argentina today has 2 producers and has another 10 projects on the pipeline to become lithium producers in the next 10 years. So there is plenty of action happening in Argentina, and this places us in a very good position to develop our strategy that I will explain in the next few minutes. Geographically, this is a satellite picture that I will show that shows where we are placed within the Hombre Muerto salt flat. We are neighboring Livent on the left, that is in red. To the north east, you will find POSCO, and to the southwest, you'll see Allkem. Now, when you see this picture, you can see why it makes sense for these 2 companies to merge. Interestingly, Galan is based to the west of Livent and to the south of Candelas. Now, Hombre Muerto is being the birthplace for the lithium-ion batteries. The first production for the lithium batteries came from Livent, and that came from the Phoenix plant. So if you go back 20 plus years, you'll see that lithium, the high-grade lithium for battery grade, came from our neighbors. So with that places in the last 5 years to have a dedicated exploration campaign that we've been putting success in terms of our inventory. And proudly today we can say that we have a resource larger than Allkem, sitting at 7.3 million tons with the highest grade lithium resource disclosed in the area and in the country as well. So what also we have? We have infrastructure shared by the 3 companies that I mentioned. We have access to the roads. There is no access to power lines, because we are in the middle of nowhere. There is a gas pipeline, but we're not thinking to develop our strategy tapping from that gas pipeline, because it's in our view, that pipeline it's almost fully at full capacity. And importantly for us, for Galan, our projects are 100% owned by Galan. We don't have any private royalties embedded in our deals. The only royalties that we need to pay, like everyone else, are to the government. And so this places in a good position to take the maximum value possible for our projects. And importantly, now that we have discovered a significant inventory that I believe that still has more to yield, we are developing a strategy in 4 phases with up to 60,000 tons of production for the next 5 years that can take us all the way to be competitive among our peers. So this picture shows why Hombre Muerto makes a big difference in Argentina. On your left axis, you have magnesium to lithium ratio. So it means that the lower you are to 0, the cleaner your brine. And then on the right axis, you have grade. indeed meaning that the high grade goes to the right. So you want to be as far low and as far right as you can. And as you can see on this graph, you can see that that level of impurities and level of grade, Ombra Muerto ticks all of the boxes above everyone else. And this put us in a very good position to take our cleanest brine with the highest grade to look what can we do commercially with it. And this is the basis of our strategy to see what's the advantage, what can we do, what can we develop in country, and potentially what can we do to export. So this picture, it's a dream, but it's a dream that today we want to convert into numbers. We want to convert into a development plan and make sure that we can execute this on a stage-by-stage case that can lead us to a high yield of production. So now our first step, and this is where we at, this is our main focus and my focus here in Argentina. We have high grade, low impurities brine, as I mentioned from the previous page, and we have successfully increased our inventory. This is a picture of a pilot pump plant that can yield around 20 tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. We are in the process of finalizing a constant stream from this pilot plant. We have done batches of 6% already, that we have proven that concentration at Ombra Muerto West, it does exist. And the next things coming up is the constant flow of concentrated brine from this pilot plant. So we what we're doing with our focus is, first of all, finalize the DFS that we've been working very hard, and our team is very putting long hours trying to get this over the line. I believe that we're not that far away. We are in the last bit of discussions and reviewing. So in our view, this is sort of imminent, and I've seen a few questions. What does it mean? But it means that in the next few days and no more than weeks, we should have this over the line and present that to the market. But we want to get it right. We want to get the optimization sorted and make sure that this yields the most competitive CapEx and OpEx that we can achieve within the project. So we are focusing on a 6% lithium chloride concentrate. And what are we doing this? This slide will shows our big picture as why we're going to produce lithium chloride concentrate at 6%. The most important thing that our concentrate is a premium product. Most of the companies within Argentina produce a lithium chloride concentrate that it ranges between 1%, 1.5%, and up to 2%. The only exception is 3Q, that they can do 3.5%. With that in mind, we have identified that we have approximately 10 projects within Argentina, and I will name them for you to be clear on this. We have Syngin to the south of us. Our neighbors are POSCO, Livent, and Allchem. Further north, we got Eramet, the French company that has done a joint venture with a Chinese company. Further north, you go Lithium Americas. They're trying to come online with on delays as well. Then you have Olaroz, which is part of Allchem and Olaroz expansion. Olaroz hasn't met the production target for the nameplate yet, even though they've been producing for a long time. Also, we do have Ganfeng with the Mariana project. We also have potentially, and I'm allowed to think that in the next 3-4 years, Rio Tinto should come up with their own solution. And lastly, we have Argosy Minerals. With that in mind, we see that most, at least we bet that half of the projects will have issues with the lithium chloride concentrate feedstock. Why do we say this? We say this because if you see today, the reality, there are 4 lithium producers in Argentina. You have SQM, Albemarle, Livent, and Allchem. And 2 out of these 4 companies are not meeting the nameplate capacity. So this is the reality. This is what's happening today. And we are of the view that this is going to translate in the newcomers at least by 50%. So with that in mind, we already in discussions with companies in Argentina. No one has pushed back about our idea of selling lithium chloride concentrate. There is there is a very good welcome about what we can do, and for Argentina, within the lithium carbonate producers, they see that this could be a good strategy and a good buffer for their production going forward. Now, the benefits directly that we've seen as well for lithium, going for lithium chloride concentrate, is that we can accelerate our production, we can get to market quicker, we can do things in a way that is modular. We can go from 4,000 to 20,000 tons within a relatively short time frame, with production coming up in 25 for the 4,000 tons of lithium carbon equivalent, with a phase 2 a year later. So this will be a transition model going from 4 to 20, and we need to start doing the 40,000 tons and then the 60,000 tons that is including candelas. We're looking beyond. We're looking to 29, 30 to complete this, but this is the main thing that we're doing. We're trying to do this on a low capex, quick to market, and it's not different what is being done in Australia with companies producing lithium oxide concentrate. So we're applying what has been very successful in Australia. Companies like Pilbara Minerals have done excellent work, and to develop their strategy and produce, and value added is something that they're investigating, but that's not the main focus. We're doing the same thing here. So what does it mean to go into lithium chloride concentrate? And I mentioned lithium oxide. If this was lithium oxide, this will be a 13% lithium oxide. For reference, the benchmark price for lithium oxide is 6%. So you can do the math, how premium is the concentrate that we're producing. Within the region in Argentina, we also can show very strong ESG credentials, because this strategy uses less than half of the water and half of the power if we were going to be doing a lithium carbonate solution at 4,000 meters. In terms of capex, we shave off 40% of our capex, and commercially, this is a key point. We can come to market 2 years earlier. So we can cash the higher pricing that we believe that we're going to be seeing changing this year. But the certainty of cash flow is a massive change commercially for us. There are people that say, why don't you go to carbonate? Look, going to carbonate is something that we do want to do, but we don't want to do today. We want to get to cash flow. We want to walk before we run. We have an upside coming up, and to get a time that we're not getting paid because we need to qualify our carbonate is a key thing as why we're not going into carbonate today. And that's something that we're going to be considering in the near future. So with that, also producing, being the only lithium chloride producer in the area, when I mentioned that it's a 50% chance, in our view and more, that the rest of the producers within Argentina are not going to come out with the concentrate that they require for the processing, we see that there are strong opportunities for us to do offtake within country. So it's a game changer. It's something different. It's something that we're doing because we believe that we can get the most value and the quickest cash flow to mature the project and growth as fast as we can as well. Now, in terms of our corporate snapshot, our company is today sitting in a market cap of 330 million. The main thing that I'd like to say is, and part of the webinar is for explaining our strategy. I take that this has been probably a long due to explain why we're going to cut into lithium chloride concentrate. But now that we are not far away from getting into our DFS, now that we have a team that can back up and produce an outcome that we expect, this is now that we're showing why we are in this path and why we're going the way that we're going. We have $20 million in cash as March. We did a cap raise a couple of weeks ago. We raised close to $30 million. And we have enough cash today to do the down payment and payment of long lead items, such as liners and the line plant. Those are the things that are key to start the construction and get over the line. We are highly aligned with our directors and management. We have more than 10% of the company. And the top 20 shareholders is holding the company highly tallied with 51%. Now, our board is showing today that 2/3 of that company has direct lithium experience. Daniel Jimenez was a senior VP of commercial for SQM, and Claudia Paul was an executive within SQM. Between the two of them, they've got close to 50 years experience in lithium. And they've seen the lithium industry from almost its infancy. They've been able to operate in different environments where things were not hanky-dory or that rosy back then when the lithium market was quite small and tight. And we're learning a lot from the experience that they've been bringing to Galan, especially Daniel, that's been with us when the company was around $25 million market cap. He believed in the story, he believed in the grade, he believed in what we could do. Fast track 3 years later, and we have almost at the end of our first DFS and almost to get the permits to execute our phase 1 development. Furthermore, Richard is our chairman, and he's a mining executive with industry experience, also with Alumbrera back in the day here in Argentina. And Terry Gardner has been with us in inception and help us to promote the company strongly and with a strong flavor from Western Australia. And myself, the company founder, I started this from an idea 5 years ago, and I'm really keen to get this company over the line to be a producer. And I can see the direct impact that this company is having here in Argentina. So at a social level, this company is making a very good difference, and we are putting a very good example as how to do things when things can be done, and there is a will and a way to get the government involved, get the community involved, get the local producers involved, and this has got a very strong Catamarca flavor to develop our strategy going forward. We have a very strong support. Now we have also in our technical team, Juan Carlos Barrera, and he's a project and board consultant. Juan Carlos was the equivalent to the COO of SQM and he worked there for 28 years. At SQM, he was called the Senior VP of Operations. He's been bringing a lot of experience, hands-on, real life experience into what to do and not to do. And part of the delay of the DFS, it comes from the reviewing from Juan Carlos and Claudia, and what else can we do to add more value to what we have? Because we didn't just want to have a DFS just for the sake of it, but we wanted to have a DFS that we can talk to the authorities, we can engage into a development with the local communities and local developers, so we can get this online and to do it locally with Catamarca. This is the key thing that makes makes Galan a company that can execute quickly and get to permits to production, because we believe that by using the locals to row with them, we can get things very quickly. As a reflection of that, Francisco Lopez was our exploration manager. He's going to be promoted to the sustainability area, and Pablo Sanz is a business development and permitting manager. I'd like to highlight that these two guys, they've been working with us from day one. They are from Catamarca. They've been key people to the development of the company. Alvaro is a very good hydrogeologist. He worked for SQM. He came from the operations, and he makes a massive difference now that we're just about to come online. And the way that he engaged with our consultants and how we can do this from a practical point of view, it makes a big difference. And I'm very proud of my team, as well as Boris, that's got Argentine experience. So with all the team that we have in Argentina, it's probably one of the strongest that I've seen for a junior company that has actually real people that have worked in the lithium industry and can execute this. So that's what I can sleep at night knowing that having a team that I can back this up, and to start from a small base, we can execute. And finally, before answering questions, I'd like to recap what Galan is. We are located at the best salt flat in Argentina at a world-class location. We are looking at low risk and rapid development delivery, meaning lithium chloride concentrate. We are applying the same commercial focus that Australian lithium oxide producers are doing. Our economics from before, they were quite compelling, and I believe that our DFS will be compelling as well. Our team is probably one of the strongest in the industry, and some of them could be easily working for the majors. We are doing something here that we are going to have strong ESG credentials. We are not using as much water as we'll be using for doing carbonate and the energy as well. So this is a key thing for having a small carbon footprint. We're working with the lithium community, with the communities in the area that they're operating with, and we are very well welcome within the Atacama community in Antofagasta de la Sierra, La Redonda, and Nacimientos. That was all the area that we had, and we have a strong growth pipeline. So I'm very keen to get this over the line. And with that, Jane, that's my presentation. I'm happy to take the questions.
Okay, so let's jump into some questions. And again, please use the Q&A function, which can be found at the bottom of your screen. Okay, so could you please provide an update on the DFS and what was the rationale behind the decision to split the DFS into two?
Yeah, we want to get to market, as I mentioned, as soon as we can. With all the optimization process that we've seen, if we were going to do the optimization all the way to the 20,000 tons, we'll be releasing a DFS in August. We split this because now we're not far away of releasing our DFS. That's the main thing as what we can do. And also working with the government, having a stage one allows us to deploy contractors, deploy an execution, because the government can see a DFS in their hand for them to grant permits going forward and start with 4,000 tons.
Thank you. And so how many employees does the company currently have, and how many staff are required for the pilot plant?
We have today approximately, between the office in Catamarca that we just opened this week and people at site, we got, and two shift, we got approximately 60 people within Galan, including contractors. Today we got around 100. And once we come into the construction phase, we need around 200 and 250. That's the number. We don't have to have them all under the Galan umbrella. Most of them will be contractors to execute the construction phase.
Thank you. And can you please talk more about the costs associated with funding the pilot plant, so infrastructure spend and further drilling?
Yep. Look, the good news is, as we stand for stage one, we don't have to be building more wells. We were fully permitted for 6 wells, and we finalized in well number 6. The 4,000 tons can be completely supplied with 3 wells. And so from the well point of view, we don't have to do more drilling. We're doing more infill drilling, diamond drilling, infilling, because we want to convert as much as we can our resource to measured. And this is all going to be part of proving up that we can get all the way to 60,000 tons. So the drilling will keep on going.
Thank you. This one's
and in terms of the funding, look, as I mentioned earlier on, the funding that we have will allow us to start all liners, early earthworks, lime plant, and so we can definitely kick off with this for quite a few months before we need any further funding. And we're looking also in terms of funding, a non-dilutive solution, meaning we're looking at prepayment and potentially loans. But these ideas we are in discussions. We are not quite about it, but we'll inform the market in due course once we have something.
Thank you, JP. Again, a question that's come through quite a few times. So is there any potential for a takeover bid of Galan, and are you currently in discussions with any parties?
Look, we're listed on the ASX. That's always a possibility. My personal view is no, I don't want to. I don't want to. The reason being is that you get the maximum value when you're in production, and we're not far away from it. So we're going to fend off as much as we can if that happens. And so that's what I can share at this stage. But we're working hard with what we have, what we can do, and what is in our control. And we'll look at things when they come or they arise, but we focus on delivering.
Thanks, JP. Sorry, bear with me. We're jumping around a little bit here, but there's been a few questions about drilling results from Greenbush South. Do you want to maybe just comment on that?
Yeah, we're waiting for the lab results. We want to have a full picture of what we drilling. We're still drilling, so to understand things, because no one else has done that. So we just want to make sure that what we have, we can interpret in the best way. So I know there's it's a bit of expectation from the market to get news, but until we don't have more data, we can't make any further assessment.
Thank you. And so with a large number of projects in HMW, do you see water being a problem?
Absolutely, and that's why our strategy, we're using less than half of the water than a carbonate plant will use to start with. And secondly, we don't have to, with this strategy, we don't have to go to capture water from a third party or any other place. The water that we require for our development sits within Ombra Marta West. So that sits at the top of the alluvial fans, and we'll be using an RO plant when needed, and that's it. So it's technologies that we've seen that they use quite a significant amount of water. I've been asked about direct lithium extraction, but we're not looking into that at this stage. And the closest example in operation to direct lithium extraction is Livent. And Livent is a hybrid solution that uses fresh water, and after the concentration process, they evaporate. So it's a hybrid solution. But they use quite a significant amount of water. So there's no other example out there that we can see that has a hybrid solution that doesn't use water. Therefore, our view is to keep to what it works. We don't want to use new technology until proving otherwise. And if that works, we also don't want to be the first. We want to be the second, third, or fourth generation of the same technology to be applicable to us. So water is a key thing. It's something that gets raised significantly, and that's why we are very pragmatic and trying to minimize the water usage by all means. And sorry for the long answer, but water, it's more also on new technologies that we do get asked to.
Thank you. Another one that's come through quite a few times. So when do you expect the first offtake agreements, and what's the strategy around this?
The discussions are ongoing, and I would like to think that this year will be the year for offtakes. And the market interest is strong. Once we get to with our permits, our commercial negotiation point will change as well, because it's a different thing trying to negotiate an offtake without permits than with permits. So I believe the permits are coming up in June, and we are in ongoing discussions. We're talking to everyone pretty much. I mean, the market knows who we are and what we're doing. They know Daniel, they know Juan Carlos as well. So we are very well known within the industry. But we want to take advantage commercially of the best position too.
Okay, so is there a risk the planned production volume will fall into a phase of low prices?
Well, like any market, house market, any market that you'll see, it goes up and down. The main difference that I'll see is we want to be in production when that happens, because we are we'll be one of the lowest cost producers in the industry. So if the lithium price plummets, we're going to continue being in operation because we're going to be competitive.
Okay, so are you currently in talks with lithium carbonate producers, and in which regions are they coming from?
It's sort of a bit of the same question. We're in discussions with pretty much a lot of companies. So yeah, it's all part of the same thing.
Is drilling currently ongoing? at the
Yeah,
moment?
as I mentioned earlier on, yeah, we doing infill drilling at Umbra Marta West, and we finalizing the last well that we got permits, and now we are applying for more permits because we want to have a well field. We don't want to stop if we can.
So the DLE process technology appears to be making progress. Are you looking to undertake testing with a partner?
No, as I mentioned earlier on, we're happy to sit back, wait, see how it works. And if it works, we're waiting for the third, fourth generation. You know, it's not rushing that. The main reason is we got the grade. We've seen that within our study, our recoveries are still strong. So we don't need to go and test something that I don't want to deviate our team from not delivering this. This is our focus. If we start testing DLE, we'll put energy elsewhere, and we just want to make sure that we deliver and get to cash flow.
Again, another one that's come through a few times. So outline how the production increase is achievable by optimizing ponds.
Yeah, look, we the main switch of difference between going in our previous life, if you want to call it, of up to 34,000 tons of combined production, going to 60, is pretty much the large inventory that we have from Umbra Marta West. 40,000 tons of lithium carbon equivalent of those 60s comes from Umbra Marta West, and the 20 extra will come from Candelas. So, and also by reviewing data, by looking at what we can do, we can increase our production. But physically, our ponds will be placed in the area that we mentioned early on, and we have a couple of candidates, or 3 candidates of new areas to consolidate the rest of the ponds required to get to 60,000 tons. So we have a plan, we have the area, we just need to decide where we're going to put the extra ponds. Everything's going to be on the west. So it's, yeah, we're going to show to the market in due course where those ponds are going to be, but we have an area to do so.
Thanks, JP. And do you have plans to appoint further board members to expand on the existing skill set of the board?
It's an evolving company, and the answer is yes. We'll, including, look, there'll be a time that even things can change for everyone, and what's best for the company will be best for the company. So if we get more people with the right skills, we're going to add them on. And same with our technical team. It's not necessarily our board team. Everyone has a role to play. We are in a transition point from going to an exploration to developing, and we want to be a producer. So definitely those things will change, and we'll reflect that in due course. I'm always looking for the right people to add. We've seen the likes of Daniel, Juan Carlos, and now Claudia as well, and even Alvaro. You know, we do have a strong background from SQM and a lot of learnings as well. So the answer is yes, and all in due course.
Thank you. Are there any further prerequisites needed in order for stage 1 production permits to be granted? And perhaps maybe even just giving a little bit of an update on the timing.
Yeah, we believe that the permits will come up this June, and that's why I'm here in Argentina, and that's why I'm pushing and playing a role of making sure that the things that the government says, the action on time, and things that they may require from us can be also replied on time. So this is a two-way conversation, and I'm here to expedite that. I'm here also to look at the companies that can execute this. We have our candidates. We are on a process of tendering. So and also identify. You know, we have all the materials and everything else. So we are on the last bit of see the execution of buying liners and the line plan, and making sure that everything is supported properly from Argentina. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm confident that this month the permit should come online.
Thank you. And so does the company intend on getting an export permit for HMW? And if so, what's the process and timeline?
Well, the good news is that we've been in discussions with the government, and a few years ago when I started, the answer was no, like a direct no. And today the answer is like, what are we offering to get this over the line? Is something that reflects the what Australia, Western Australia does with concentrate. In Argentina, you have only one rate of royalties, and we want to replicate what Western Australia does in terms of royalties for concentrate. So meaning that we can pay a high royalty, similar in terms of competition to what Western Australia does. And in that way, things have been changing. The perception is changed. I took the government with assistance of the Australian embassy here in Argentina to Western Australia last year. And that was a good eye-opening experience for them to see that most of the lithium came from hard rock, and also to understand how the government operates and royalties operate. So the whole thing changed. And what I can say is that we want to get our permits first, and then we're going to be looking at the export license.
Thank you. Jumping around again, back to the offtake. So can you please talk more about, excuse me, brother. Could you please talk more about the prerequisites that are required for an offtake deal? So for example, is it product samples, DFS or permits? And then second to that, are we close to producing samples?
Well, we are on the 20 tons of lithium carbonate equivalent pilot plant that is in the picture. We're not far away from getting that 6%. We already have batches of 6%. We achieved that through 2 different type of ponds, and the answer is yes, we can send those samples to third parties, and it depends on the company what they want. Some of them want more data. Some of them just want to understand the commercial terms first, and there is a bit of a road in terms of an offtake development. But what I can say is that there's one less step for us to get an offtake compared to if we were going to do carbonate. If we were going to do carbonate, we should have our lithium carbonate plant, give the samples consistently, and even when we get to the next level of production, we need to qualify that. With concentrate, we don't have to do that, we don't have to do that in the same rigor, with the same rigor that you will do it with carbonate. Yes, you need to give samples. We are being consistent though in this concentration that we have been doing in batches, and all the way from when we started in concentrated our brine from Argentina in Chile at the lab, the level of impurities and the results of this concentrate is giving good results in terms of grade and very low level of impurities. So it gives a strong confidence that the next production coming up from the pilot plant, it will sustain those results too.
Thanks, JP. So is the company able to begin reporting production both in LCE and chloride? So currently the strategy is chloride, but production is reported in LCE, which is creating a bit of confusion.
Everything will be in LCE for simplicity. Otherwise, we'll distract even more trying to do chloride itself, because you have to convert to LCE in the end anyway for revenue.
Another question here. So if we're comparing this with spodumene, is it viable to ship chloride to China?
Absolutely. It's been done before. SQM did this for 10 years. And the person that sold commercially those contracts from SQM to Ganfeng, that was Daniel. Our Daniel that is on the board. So physically, how does it get done? And by the way, this wasn't done in an environment that the lithium carbonate price was around $6,000 a ton. So if it was able to be done back then, definitely can be done now. So how do you do this? You put it's the same way that you export wine, oils, or any liquid. You put a big bladder in a container, and then you fill it up, seal it, and then close the container, and that's how you export it.
And so what is your expected processing margin for a third party who is essentially tolling your chloride?
There is a range of payability. So I can't discuss the margin on a commercial thing, but I can give you a range. The payability for us as Galan for the lithium chloride concentrate to a third party will get paid with the prices that we're seeing anywhere between 70% of the value of lithium chloride concentrate. So that's discounting their cost, their operation, their conversion to carbonate and everything else, and their own margins. So the range goes from, we'll get, as Galan, 70% to 90% of the lithium carbonate pricing for lithium carbonate battery grade. So that's sort of the benchmark that we get.
So just in regards to energy supply, so what's going to be the source for that and how much will it cost?
For the project, that's the initially the main thing that we have in our study is a diesel generation that we want quickly change because we want to have a solar field that can power the camp and also can power the lime plant as well as the pumps. So in terms of energy, what I can say is that less than half of our lithium carbonate. So our installed capacity should be, with everything else, should be around 2.5 megawatts of installed capacity, counting everything: camp, pumps, lime plant. I'm giving you a number for around 20,000 tons, so not for the 4,000 tons. So it's not that big, but we want to minimize our footprint as well, and therefore that's why we are going to be looking into the solar field to power our needs in with solar power and batteries too. So
thank you. And so when will the maiden reserve statement be released, and will this be based on phase 1 or 2 of the project?
We'll have to, well, the maiden reserve will be for phase 1. And as soon as we, when we release, so there'll be 2 reserves statements, one for phase 1, and phase 2 will have a reserve statement as well that will be bigger than the phase 1 reserves.
And has a phase 2 permit application been submitted?
We're not far off submitting it. We've been going through a few things, and look, we're working hand in hand with the government on this because we don't want to submit something that they're going to come back to us a few months later. And at the end of the day, operating with the government, things are a bit slower. So we want to minimize those time. So, and this is why we're going through the iterations and conversations with the government to make sure we launch this once and not getting back in a few months and then trying to get a communication to get this sorted and making the whole process lengthier. And we're trying to minimize those things, and that's why we haven't launched that yet.
JP, another one. So can you comment on doing business in Argentina?
Look, I'm originally from Chile, and I was really scared. I remember saying this to someone. Yes, Argentina has a long history of things not going well, and I do get that. But after being here for 5.5 years, after working in Catamarca specifically, I can see that things can be done. At a federal level, yes, there are things that are, in my view, needs to be changed, like all the restriction on exchange rate. There is a high inflation. There are things that are affecting the macro level of the economy. I believe that whoever comes next will be a more moderate government that will start easing those sort of things. And at the provincial level, at Catamarca, they've been really welcoming for investment. And the proof is that we have our own office now in Catamarca. And I'm working with the locals. It's been a good experience so far.
Thank you, JP. I think we've answered majority of the questions. I do apologize. We've had over 100 come through, but we will be doing a lot more of these webinars in the future, and there will be a copy of today's webinar available online in the coming days. But if there's anything that we have missed, please feel free to reach out via the contact details on the bottom of our ASX releases. But thank you. Thanks, JP.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Thanks to everyone for logging in.